The Israeli military is confirming that Israeli troops have crossed the border into Lebanon, and that's significant. It's also raising speculation that a big ground invasion into South Lebanon could soon follow. But the Israelis are being very careful in their language. They're describing limited ground operations or raids aimed at targeting Hezbollah infrastructure close to the border. All this after a very tense 24 hours here again.
Overnight, Israel was again making good on its boast that its reach is long. Here, the aftermath of a strike on a Beirut apartment. 3 members of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, a group fighting alongside Hamas in Gaza, confirmed dead. On the ground below, their blood, papers on the future of Palestine, and shocked residents. The first Israeli strike of this conflict in the city's center, an area where Hezbollah holds less sway. There were 2 bombs, says Jamal Hussein, who lives nearby and was awakened by the strike. One exploded, the other didn't.
The attack at this location is going to unsettle anyone who assumed that Israeli airstrikes in the capital would be contained to the Hezbollah stronghold.
Especially with reports that an Israeli incursion into southern Lebanon is already underway, coming after days of building tension. This was the Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant along the Israeli-Lebanese border, telling troops they will make it safe for Israelis displaced by Hezbollah's missiles to return to their homes. We'll employ all our capabilities, he's saying, from the air, the sea, and the ground. In Lebanon, people tuned in to hear a message from Hezbollah's deputy commander. The first from the militant group since the decimation of its top leaders, including Hassan Nasrallah. If the Israelis decide to enter by land, says Naim Qassem, the resistance forces are ready for a ground engagement. Others here are preparing for the worst, including Hoda Saba, already displaced by fighting in the south. If what's happening to Gaza happens to us, we won't survive, he says. Before the war, we weren't even living. Our graves were already waiting for us. Calls for a ceasefire from both the U.S. president and Lebanon's prime minister are still hanging in the wind.
And Adrienne, there have been more Israeli airstrikes here in Beirut in the southern suburbs again tonight, as there have been every night since that attack that killed Hassan Nasrallah.
And Margaret, with fighting on the ground now, the big question still remains, what does Hezbollah's ally Iran do?
Well, it's interesting, Adrienne. You know, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a message, a televised message tonight that he said was aimed at the Iranian people, but it seemed much more directed at the Iranian regime. He said that Israel can reach anywhere in the Middle East, and if that's not a warning, I don't know what is.
All right, Margaret Evans reporting in Beirut tonight. Thanks, Margaret.